You good? All right. All right, good evening. Welcome to the public meeting for the water main replacement project in the area of Summit Street to Citadel Drive, Nichols Drive to East 63rd Street. Couple of logistics to go over before we get started. We are recording this meeting. The recording will be posted to our KC Water website in a couple of days after this presentation is completed. If you wish during this presentation at any time to ask a question, please use the raise your hand feature if you're joining online, or if you're here in person, just please raise your hand and we'll take questions at any time throughout the presentation. If you can't use the raise your hand feature, if you're calling in by phone, then please feel free to just interrupt us at any time, or at the very end of the presentation, we'll be asking for questions as well. And so we'll have an opportunity to take questions at that time. If you still have questions at the conclusion of this presentation, please contact the project manager from either the KC Water side or the Pyramid contractor side, and they'll be happy to answer any of your questions at the conclusion of this presentation. Oh, Pyramid excavation. Thank you.
They always get mixed up.
Perfect. So I just want to introduce the project team really quickly for this project. We do have here in the audience, we have Jeff Martin, our Chief Engineering Officer. Myself, I'm Melanie Jollitt. I'm the Water Distribution Division Head for Kansas City Water. We also have Jerry Stevens. He's our project manager for the project. We also have Keenan Riley. He will be our inspector on the project, so you'll be seeing him face to face every day. And John Wright with Pyramid Excavation. So what we're going to do is just give a quick overview of KC Water in general. What a lot of people don't recognize sometimes is that we are 3 utility providers. So we provide drinking water, we provide wastewater collection and treatment, and then we also provide stormwater collection as well. Within our water treatment, or within our water distribution system, we do have 1 treatment plant, about 18 pump stations, 2,800 miles of water main, which we're going to be talking about tonight, 35,000 valves and 23,000 fire hydrants throughout the city. On the wastewater side, we have 6 wastewater treatment plants, 39 pump stations, 28 miles of sewer collection main, and about 67,000 manholes. On the stormwater side, we have about 630 miles of storm sewer, as well as some storm inlets, storm pump stations throughout the city, but we also have 13.5 miles of levee to help prevent flooding throughout the city. So a lot of people don't know about the storm sewer side, but we do also provide storm sewer services within the KC Water utility. All of this ties back into the Missouri River, which is really our main source of water for the distribution system. And so protecting this water source and keeping it safe for drinking water is our #1 priority. I'm going to give a little overview of the water main replacement program, which is what we're here to talk about tonight, is a specific project within the water main replacement program. As I mentioned, KC Water, in our distribution system, we do have about 2,800 miles of water mains. Some of these mains date back to the 1800s, and so we do have some very old infrastructure within our system. Aging infrastructure is a nationwide challenge. It's not something unique to Kansas City. But what is unique to KC Water is we did implement about 8 years ago a water main replacement program. This program was developed to replace about 1% of our infrastructure every year, or that equates to about 28 miles of water mains that are replaced every year as part of this program. As I mentioned, we're in our 8th year, and to date, we've replaced over 200 miles of water main. So we've been seeing some significant success with this water main replacement program. So how do we determine which mains to replace and when to replace them? We use some data-driven priorities. So basically what we've done here at KC Water is we develop a risk matrix on each of our mains within the system. And so what we're looking at is likelihood of failure and consequence of failure criteria. And we go through, we look at each pipe within our distribution system. The risk score is assigned to each pipe, and that's a combination of the consequence of failure score, along with the likelihood of failure score. So we're able to look at every pipe within our main. We're able to identify the top high-risk mains within the system. And from there, we're able to develop projects that will go out into design each fiscal year. Every water main replacement project is designed with new mains, the new mains to be ductile iron. They're zinc coated and wrapped in a polyethylene sleeve. And what this does is it ensures that these pipes have about 100-year design life. So once we replace them, if we replace 1% of our infrastructure every year on the distribution side after 100 years, we should not have to, during this water main replacement program, replace the mains that we're already replacing. The long-term infrastructure plan, really what does this do is it really improves the service that we can provide to our customers because it reduces service interruptions due to breaks, and it reduces operation and maintenance costs on the distribution system, but it also increases capacity and fire protection to our customers. With that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Jerry, and he's going to give specifics on this project in particular.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. Can you hear me okay on there? I guess so. This project specifically covers two different segments. It's about 4,200 feet of break-prone 6-inch and 8-inch water mains, and it's in the area of Summit Street to Citadel, Nichols Drive to East 63rd Street. And specifically, we're replacing 2,800 lineal feet of 8-inch water main along East 59th Street from Blue Hills to Brooklyn, and then 1,400 lineal feet of 6-inch water main, and we're replacing that with 8-inch along Walnut Street from East 49th Street to East 51st Street. So what happens on your block? That's what we want to let you know about. That's what most people are interested in. Now, what's going to happen is that they're going to be marking utilities, and you'll see some paint on the ground and areas that will mark out where the utilities are, so the contractor doesn't hit them. And also what they do is they, what we call potholing, to verify the locations and the elevations. And what this does is it kind of sucks out the dirt above the utilities and verifies where those utilities are. Another aspect is traffic control. We'll have the traffic control plan that is implemented, and detours will be signed, and cones will be up, and so that it'll be clear for the neighborhoods and the people driving in the area to what they need to do to avoid any of the contractor's activities. Next, they come in and they cut the pavement and excavate a narrow trench and bury the new pipe in gravel. This pipe that we're using, Melanie kind of alluded to it, is that it is ductile iron. We're replacing the cast iron, which is more susceptible to corrosion, with this ductile iron, which is less susceptible, and it's zinc coated, which even deters the corrosion even more. And then we wrap it in poly wrap so that it really has the best method of that's possible of avoiding the corrosion. There's going to be 3 planned outages that you will experience at your home, and those will be told to the neighborhood and to each house by the contractor, either a door hanger or somebody knocking on the door. Probably the door hanger will be the method. And those connection times are when they connect the new main to the existing main on one end, and the next one will be connection from the new main to the existing main on the other end. And during the third time would be during switching your service line, and we'll talk about that in a minute, from the old water main to the new water main. There may be some unplanned outages, which we can't avoid or plan for. And so those will be restored as soon as possible. And the contractor has experience on doing that. So they will construct some temporary connections. And one of the first things they do after they have the new water main in place is to fill it and disinfect it with chlorine and with temporary connections. And then they test for bacteria and in the new water main. And this may take a week or more, and you'll see little activity while the samples are being analyzed by our lab. With both the new and the water mains and the old water mains in service, they'll be transferring customer service lines to the new pipe. And if your meter is inside, we'll remove it and install a new one out in your yard. And that gives us easier access to the meter in case something happens to it or needs to be changed or maintained in any way. Then they will make the permanent connection after that everything passes the tests and abandon the old main. So after that, they'll be restoring either temporary or permanent, and then depending on the time of the year, they will either sod or seed the lawns. They'll restore the curbs, sidewalks, and driveways, and that'll be toward the end of the project. This is what you can expect during the project construction. Large equipment will be used, creating some noise and dusty conditions. Can avoid that, which will be controlled. Water service will be interrupted for short periods of time, like I mentioned, in 3 different times at least. And you will be notified ahead of time by door hangers or by other means that the water will be shut off. The affected curbs, driveways, and other pavement will be restored per KCMO Public Works Department standards. There's standards for how these curbs, driveways, and pavements will be restored. And so that will be according to the Public Works standards. Disturbed lawns areas will be sodded, like I said, after work is completed, and as the season permits, other areas may be seeded as well. Ordinary travel routes might be temporarily restricted or detoured, and to allow the contractor to do his work. And so when the contractor is working in your neighborhood, be aware of how the traffic flow is going to happen. So the question comes up, why do we replace these water mains? And Melanie alluded to that a little bit, that this, the reason why is that we're proactive on these water mains. We want to reduce the chance of water main breaks and in the future, and that's why we do the computer analysis and grade the mains and pick out which mains need to be replaced. But in addition to that, one of the biggest advantages is that it increases fire protection all through the neighborhood. And if one of these streets has a 6-inch water main, the smallest we put in nowadays is 8-inch, so that there's more fire protection and better service to our neighborhoods. Are you going to do the next one?
You want me to? Sure, I can.
Yeah, turn back over to Melon.
Sure. Thanks, Jerry. So this is a slide basically to illustrate, just to identify KC Water's ownership versus the private property ownership. So as Jerry discussed, if your water meter is in the basement, we will relocate that out to the yard. So what we're showing really is, you can see the existing water main or the new water main that we're going to be replacing. We also have the wastewater main in there also to kind of show the sewer lateral. But you can see the service line connection and it goes into the resident or into the property. And we have a curb stop. Basically that curb stop is what demarks the difference in ownership. So KC Water is on the public side. We own and have to maintain the service line on that side. And then the owner, the customer owns everything on the customer side as indicated in this illustration. As we discussed, we will relocate the water meter. It's not shown on this exhibit, but it will be located in the yard. And so the contractor will be going in and valving that off so that putting in a straight length of pipe so the meter will no longer be in your basement. Okay. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, so we want to briefly touch on the project sequencing and the duration of the project. The notice to proceed to the contractor will be given tomorrow, and the contractor will start according to Pyramid the first week of January. We've got through the Christmas season here. And, but they'll be doing paperwork and things like that ahead of it, doing any digging. So you may not see any actual construction work until the first week of January. The schedule says that the work should be completed by August of next year. And with these two separate locations, I think that's a reasonable amount of time. I'll turn that over to John Wright, who is the contractor, and he can go over the schedule a little bit and tell us where he's going to start and how he's going to handle this project.
Sure. So my name is John Wright. I've been with this company for going on 20 years. We've done work for KC Parks. We've done work for Public Works. The greatest majority of work has been with KC Water Services. The greatest majority of that work has been installing water lines. And most of our crews have been with us for quite a while. And we're able to get these in efficiently and as few snags as possible. Like Jerry said, we'll be starting around the first week of January. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll see us in the streets out there. Typically, the first thing that happens is we will call them for our locates, and they give us 3 days or so to get those marked. Once the locates are in, then the surveyors will come in and they'll stake out the entire water line from one end to the other. And they'll put their flags and their stakes and whatnot in. And then after those are in, you'll probably see someone coming through capturing the pre-construction documentation. They'll be capturing photographs of all the driveways, the sidewalks, anything that is in our line of work in a reasonable distance around our line of work. And that's good for both parties involved, because when everything's said and done, we've got a very accurate record of how it was before and how it is when we're done. Like Jerry also said, we will be restoring everything per the KC Mud Public Works specifications. All the pipe will be backfilled with rock. They used to allow dirt, but now it's all rock, which is better. You don't have the settlements or whatever. The good thing about this project, one, it's not very big, which is very nice compared to the ones we've had lately. And then another thing is a lot of the work will actually occur behind the curb, which means we will be, cutting through driveways. At the end of each day, we like to have all of our ditches backfilled to a drivable condition. In very few instances, we may have to put a street plate. If any excavation do require work the next day, we're required to put up snow fence and required stuff to make it safe overnight. I can't remember many instances where that's gone longer than that. If we do happen to saw cut through your driveway, we won't just pass that section. The Public Works Standards makes us go back to the next joint. So wherever the cut occurs, we'll be going from the street back to the next joint and probably end up getting a new drive approach. So as Jerry said, I'll go back a little bit. We'll get our locates in. We will, have the pictures taken, we'll get the staking done. And then we have another contractor that will come out, Vine Cut's their name, and they have big saws, and what we'll do is we will saw the entire line, before we get started out there, and that way we can go through quicker. The mains actually go in pretty fast, once the joints are long, and they go relatively quick. The one that's more labor intensive is coming back. We tap into that main, we put a new corp in, we put new copper in. Like Melanie was saying, we put in a new curb stop, we put in a new meter pit, and that takes time. We do have equipment where, well, like I say, first you'll see a long linear trench, and then we'll end up having to dig in your yard, and then depends on which side of the street your home is located. We'll be digging on both sides of the street, but we have a bowl that allows us to go underneath the road without making paper cuts and go all the way across the road. So we run that through there and we pull our copper pipe in. And so we'll go through and get all of our services transferred. Like Jerry said, when we do the service transfer, we'll put a door hanger on your door. It doesn't take very long to do so. Go in the house, take the meter out, put a bypass nipple in there. And once all those are done, we'll come back with our restoration, see the sod, the concrete, if any sidewalks taken out, we'll replace the sidewalk. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thanks, John. And that, the service lines will be reconnected to the new main after the new main is put in service. Obviously, it has to be pass the bacteria test and make sure that it's ready for public consumption. And so that will come toward the middle to the end of the project, I would say. Like I mentioned before, the anticipated start date will be the first week of January. I think John alluded to that as well. But if you want more information about the project or the status of the project, you can go online to Casey Water, and there's a caseywater.us/projects/current/projects and find this project. And if you forget about or how to do that, just give me a call and we can get you set up to do that. And then also, you can call us directly if you'd like to. John Wright's number at Pyramid is 816-765-4464. And I wanted to introduce our inspector, Keenan Riley, that he will be on the project as well. He is inspecting, will be there probably on a daily basis. His mobile number is 816-507-4602, or you can call me directly on my office number is 816-513-0446, and we will get you the answers that you need to answer your questions. Okay. If there are any questions, we would be happy to answer those for you. We have some plans back there that you can look at. If you have specific questions about any area, you can give me a call and we can do a Teams meeting or something like that, and I can bring it up and I can show you what's going to happen in those areas in front of your house. That's it, Melanie.
And it sounds like we don't have any questions in the chat. So I just want to thank everybody for participating. And if like Jerry said, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. But I hope everybody has a good evening. Thank you all.